Yo, what's good, Bills Mafia? Shout out to the world, but what's good, Bills Mafia? This is Stevie Johnson, Mr. Why So Serious. I just want to let y'all know, make sure y'all check out the Moneyball channel on YouTube. They got all the hottest interviews, and they got the latest with me. Check it out. One love.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, with me today, this is actually take two. We'll tell you the story on that in a minute, but I have Mr. Mike Bryan here with me. Mike Bryan is 50% of the Bryan brothers tennis team with him, along with his brother Bob. These two guys racked up 18 major titles. Okay, they have 123 ATP Tour titles. Right, so far so good.
Yeah, 124, but who's counting?
Who's counting, right? And 506 weeks as the #1 doubles team in the world. So for anyone who watches this show who doesn't follow tennis too intently, this isn't in America. This isn't a tennis league that's in the eastern seaboard of the United States. Tennis is a global thing. That means that you're the best in the world. There is no one better than you and your brother Bob for 506 weeks. So listen, man, kudos on that. That's reading those stats and saying them out loud and then looking across from you, it's mind blowing. Number one, because you're such a puny guy. No, I'm just kidding. It's
No,
mind blowing how successful and how amazingly athletic and how crazy that is. Like, I don't think enough people truly understand that. So welcome to the show. Thank you. This is take two. We recorded last week. I forgot to hit record. Laugh at me later. So let's roll.
No, man, great to be on again.
Thank you.
We both hit record now, so we got a double backup.
Yeah,
but yeah, man, Bob and I, we played on tour for 23 years, playing doubles together. We just love playing doubles, just because we're twins and we love sharing the time on court together. We have that innate ability to kind of track where each other are going to be, that communication, which is all about doubles, is just knowing, anticipating where your brother's going to be. And we had thousands of matches together before we even turned pro. So I felt we had a huge advantage over most teams, just because we didn't have to really talk or use signals. It was all just happening naturally, like in flow. And we just got a kick out of playing together. So we play with a lot of passion. Love just going out there, and it was exciting for us. And we shared hotel rooms around the world. It's great having your best friend to travel with because it gets pretty lonely. You're on the road maybe 45 weeks out of the year, going to Asia, going to Europe, and and it can get pretty stale and lonely. So to do it with your twin brother, your best friend, made it that extra special. And we had some dark times too. We didn't always win. But yeah, we built on year after year, and it felt we were getting better until our mid 30s. Even to 40, I felt like we were improving because the game keeps getting better. Just like any sport, doubles tennis was kind of accelerating, and everyone was kind of taking pages out of our book and improving and playing like us. And so we had to keep modifying and just figuring out ways to get better. And like the ripe old age of 40, we retired at 42.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, what age did you guys retire the headbands at? Was it 42?
Yeah, we put down the rackets at 42, right when COVID hit. Actually, we announced that 2020 is going to be our last year. We're going to retire at the Open.
So it was planned. You guys planned.
Yeah, we had it planned. I was having my first child. Bob had 3 kids. We just wanted to spend more time with the families. It was taking like a longer time to recover after matches. And we just felt like that was the time. Bob just had a hip replacement. He had a metal hip. He was playing with a metal hip. So he was like the first guy to do that. Now Andy Murray's doing it, but we felt like, let's save some bodies, our bodies, so we can play with our kids. When they're teenagers. And we felt like we left it on the line for so many years, and we were super professional. We never really went out. We were always watching what we ate. We didn't go on vacation. We're always training, man. And we had like those lofty goals, those high standards of always finishing the year #1, winning slams. And when we didn't, we were, pretty upset. Like we took losses harder than anyone. So it was kind of nice to just put the rackets down and, say, hey, we're good.
I'm so glad you brought that up because we didn't get into that last time we spoke, and and I'm really, really glad you brought it up. The discipline, right? Now, I know last time I had spoken kind of a little bit about attesting to the condition of tennis players, right, versus other sports. Whether it's singles or doubles, it's either one or two of you. You're chasing balls around this court. You know, anybody who's played singles or doubles knows it's not an easy thing to go attack a drop shot and then somebody lobs it and you're chasing the ball back. And this is every play, right? Yeah. They're not saying like you're not running off to the side of the field and getting the oxygen mask. You know how these football guys,
physical.
Dude, they run 20 yards and they're like, right?
Yeah. Tennis matches. I mean, if you look at some of these Grand Slam matches, they can go 4 or 5 hours, especially in singles. You know, they're running side to side. It's like they're running a marathon, and then they got to come back, 24 hours later and do it again, and then possibly do it 7 times in a Grand Slam. Doubles is a little bit different. It's more fast twitch. Points are a little shorter, but it's more explosive and jerky and more violent on the body. And there's just different movements, a lot of movement forward, back, lateral stuff. But yeah, man, like you have to be in great shape. If there's any like chinks in the armor, if your legs aren't just rock solid, your core, shoulders, wrists, we had pretty much every injury you could have, right? Like it's pretty physical, and the tour is so long. Like you play all the way until December, and you have about 30 days, and then you the Australian right after Christmas for the Aussie Open. So it's relentless. And then in between tournaments, you have sponsor appearances, you have exhibitions, you have all this other stuff. So it can take its toll. I feel a lot of these tennis players that play a long time, their minds can crack, right? It's just so demanding, and it's a worldwide sport where everyone's so good. It doesn't matter what country they're from. Right. There's always one good guy from Thailand, or so you're competing against so many great athletes, and so the bar is super high to have a job on tour. Super competitive, to be top 100 in the world. And that's the only way you're going to make a living. And in doubles, it's probably top 40. You know what?
That's a great point as well. Yeah.
So it weeds out, a lot of these guys playing futures and challengers, that they're not making great livings. And there's thousands of guys trying to do that to break in to a Grand Slam or a Masters series. So to stay at the top, you have to keep evolving, keep working on the body. You need a big team around you. You need just great support. And luckily Bob and I, we had each other to kind of push each other. Like every day we go to the practice court and we just demand the best, like we would just go hard in practice, and we felt if we missed in practice that could translate to a match. So we were just, you don't want to be a perfectionist, but you almost have to, know, and it's, it can be tough because every time we lost, we were pretty open about it. We'd hash it out and then just get back on the court and try to work on those things.
Was it something where, you guys being so close and having that relationship, would there be blame on each other, right? Like,
I mean, unfortunately, unfortunately, as brothers, you feel like you can say anything to your twin brother who you shared the womb with, you went to school with, you shared bedrooms with. So it feels like stuff can slip out when if you're playing with a normal partner. It's a little bit more professional, and the sibling rivalry doesn't like slip in.
There's so we can say to.
What's up, Moneyball family? I'm here to tell you about Smash Burgers from Buffalo Bros Burgers. Going to be opening a storefront in the village of Hamburg, and in the meantime, you can find them on the website wherever they're going to be in town. You're going to want to turn up and show out because they have some delicious burgers. Smash Burger is a couple of burgers smashed on a bun with some cheese dripping down. You hungry yet? Check out the Smash Burger from Buffalo Bros Burgers, man. It's good stuff.
Bob, that you might not say to Jack Sock, right?
Yeah. I mean, we had some tough. I mean, we would hash it out in the locker rooms, and sometimes we'd go to blows, right? Yeah. We had some moments.
Was there blows?
We'd be in cars. We'd be in.
Tell the people what they want to hear, brother. Tell us about the blows.
Where like the stewardess would be like, "Okay, are you guys okay?" We'd, flying back from Australia, and we're a package deal, so we're always together. Yeah. Where most partners would fly to different cities, but we were always flying together. And then like we'd be talking about the match. Oh, you could have hit your backhand a little better, and then it would just get personal. Yeah. And he knew exactly how to push my buttons and all my tricks.
And right?
I know all his insecurities. Yep. And then so it could get dark. The losses were definitely tougher, but the wins I felt were sweeter, and we could, the highs were super high because you're sharing that with your twin brother, the guy you love the most on the planet, right? And so I felt like when we played our very best, we kept our mouth shut, right? And we just kind of went in. We didn't really say much in between points. You know, you have the 25 seconds in between points. We just used like hand signals and little code words, and just we knew that if we started like, even if you started too much praise and like great playing, you know, that then on the other side of the coin, you could actually let some negativity sleep in. So we just keep it very hush hush.
I went back and I watched a couple of the tour, you know, the finals. And you're saying right there, man, it's so interesting. I was going to bring that up and you hit it. You guys, a lot of the times you didn't really have to say much. You'd kind of give him a look. You know, it seems like he would give you more looks. I don't know who's the older. Who's the older one?
I felt like
isn't he older?
He's actually the older one, and I thought I was older all the way until I was 42, and I got married, and I needed my birth certificate, and so my parents had it all mixed around, and I looked at my birth certificate. It said second twin.
Really?
So I paid $25 more, and I got Bob's birth certificate. It said first twin. So it was all off. But yeah, I mean,
great.
It would go both ways, but you know, you didn't want to react if your twin said something. If you said something back, it could sink the ship, right? And then our energy is split. When our energy was positive, when we're kind of just feeding off each other and we're bouncing around, and we had this just infectious enthusiasm, that's what made it scary, right? The team would look over there and say, "Oh my God, that's a two-headed monster!" Like we don't even know who we're looking at. We don't know where to hit it, and we just had this kind of this huge like ball of positivity, and that would carry us. And when we didn't have that, when he would say something, I would take it the wrong way, and I'd kind of go off into an island by myself. We were good, but we weren't the best. We could take a loss anywhere, right?
So it's a great point you made there, because I think you guys were so good that when you weren't clicking, you might win in 3 sets, 7-6 tiebreak, right? And when you guys were this molten lava, it was 6-0, 6-0. Like people couldn't even come near you guys. When you guys were rolling, it would be like it almost looked like you weren't trying. Now I know you were, but you know, it almost had that effect, and that had to be so intimidating. Again, this is the world, right? This isn't like, you know, a couple players. This is everyone in the world.
Yeah, we were built to be a doubles team. I mean, the mirror image, the righty lefty really helps for doubles. And then we had different strengths and different weaknesses. Bob had a huge serve, so he could hold serve literally in like 30 seconds, right? So, and then I had a great return. So like I was taking most of the ad court break points. And so we were dangerous on both sides, right? The serve and the return. So when we had it all going, we could demolish teams. You know, we felt like, you know, Bob was a good enough returner and I was a good enough server. So we were pretty complete players, but we had different, you know, talents. Bob was kind of an instinctual poacher.
Yeah.
And he would make these bold moves, and he was a little bit more creative. Like he has that right side of his brain. He's a lefty. And he would go for these like kind of high risk shots that were pretty cool. And I was just more like solid percentages.
Well, I don't know, man. You had that ripper of a forehand, like somebody. Somebody serves into the ad court, and from what I saw, man, just ripping that down the doubles line, right? Which, you know, the singles line, and then that guy's trying to protect the net, and you're.
Yeah, I mean,
it was awesome.
Doubles is it's more of a precise game. It's like you're aiming for the alleys. It's finely tuned, right? It's like, and there's so much more that goes into it with like signals and all these plays that you line up. And I mean, our playbook, we have game plans. We talk about these game plans for like at least an hour before the match.
Wow.
And come in to a match knowing exactly where to serve a guy on a big point to increase our chances on winning that. Like some guys were solid, but on a big point, they'd get a little nervous on like a body forehand. So if you could serve it into their body, handcuff them, and then Bob would poach. And so it's, if you do that enough and you play and you have that energy, it moves the needle in your favor just a little bit. And we understood like the margins and doubles are fine too. Like it's tough to break. Sometimes we'd win, as you said, we'd win 7-6 in the third.
Yeah.
We won 7 Grand Slams where we were down match points.
Wow.
So you had to battle. You had to battle, and then you get over that.
That's wild, man. I didn't see that. And that's mental.
Yeah, I mean, and when you have that positive energy, things go your way. When that twin vibe is rolling, seems like we'd get some lead courts. Like we won the gold medal. We won 7 tiebreakers during that
And
run.
that was the golden Grand Slam year.
Yeah. Yeah. We won the gold after it was our 3rd Olympic try in Athens. We were the #1 seed. We were the favorite for the gold. Came up 1 short of the medal rounds, which
Who
was
won
like
Who won it that year?
it was this Chilean team of Masu Gonzalez, and it was probably one of our lowest losses. It was like it felt like it was like soul crunching, right?
Because
like
you guys were the obvious favorites.
We were the favorite. We'd beaten this team many times before.
Yeah.
You know, coming into the match, the guy Masu had like a 3.5-hour singles match, and he just looked like he was depleted and dead. And we were kind of in the locker room laughing like, we got this guy.
Yeah.
And we got up big. We got up like, I think we got up 4-0 in the first. And he called the trainer and he said, I'm done. He gave the throat slash.
Get out of here. Really?
And we're just like, we're kind of high-fiving on the sideline. We're like, we got a medal, baby. We got a medal. And then he came out. They gave him some like smelling salts or something, but he came out
something. What'd you say from Chile?
I don't know what they gave him, but they gave him something.
Man.
And he was just a monster after that. And then we started chirping, right? We started talking to each other, and then that one hurt. We didn't say a word to each other for like 3 days after that. We flew back to New York.
That was Chilean horse PCP. That was some horse tranquilizer.
Yeah, they went on to win the gold, and then we went to Beijing, and we were the heavy favorite to win the gold there, and got clipped in the semis, but came back and won the bronze, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, dude, this is cool. We got an Olympic medal, and I remember it was like a great moment. Like my coach was crying. He hadn't cried after we won the U.S. Open or Wimbledon, and he was emotional, right? Mm-hmm. And then we come back to the States, and everyone's like, dude, what happened?
Impulse is revolutionizing the physical therapy experience for active individuals in Western New York. From marathon runners to warriors of the weight room, we've got you covered. Our cutting-edge technology takes sports-specific testing to the next level. Our patient-centered approach lets you drive your own recovery. You can expect individualized one-on-one sessions every time you're here. And the game changer? Impulse is home to Western New York's only public board-certified sports PT. If you're ready to get back in the game, call Impulse today and mention Moneyball for $100 off your first visit.
Like,
yeah.
We had to explain like that. It was like almost an apology that we got the bronze.
Unbelievable, but true.
That's just the culture of the U.S., right? When Michael Phelps brings home 12 Olympic golds, it wasn't really good enough. So like instead of putting that trophy like in the front of our trophy case, I kind of put it in my sock drawer. And then, then it came full circle. Then, 4 years later, we came back and finally won the gold, which was really cool.
I interviewed Craig Ramsey, and Craig was the coach of Latvian hockey team. They had never gotten a medal, and he got bronze in the last Olympics. They celebrated this man like he was not way higher than the president, right? There was parades, and it wasn't for the team. It was for Craig. They lost their minds, and that was for the bronze. And you're right. U.S. has an attitude of like, what happened? What went wrong?
Yeah. I went to Djokovic versus Del Potro. It was a bronze medal match in London. I went to go watch that live. Okay. And Del Potro won that and went down on his back. Yeah. And it was like he literally won the World Tour final. Like it was like the biggest moment. And then I watched on like Instagram and Twitter, like he had parades, and he filled a soccer stadium, and and it was sold out. And that's because it was the only bronze medal or the only Olympic medal for Argentina.
Okay.
And that's cool. But yeah, just coming back as an American, and I remember having to explain this story to a lot of people. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, we'll do better next time.
Yeah.
But you never know if you're gonna have a next time. Like in the Olympics, you have to be the #1 team from the U.S. Doubles team to get in. You never know if you're going to be healthy.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Yeah. So in order to just get in and be the team, you have to be the #1 team.
You have to be the #1 team. They only take one doubles team.
Okay.
And it's the toughest draw in tennis because you have every singles guy like Federer, Wawrinka, you got Murray and his brother, you got Djokovic, you got Nadal playing with Lopez.
Yeah,
it's just stacked, right? So there's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to work your way into the tournament. So, yeah, I mean, and then you don't know like if you're gonna in 4 years. You take every opportunity like it's gonna be your last. So in Beijing, Like we're like, okay, we got a bronze. It's probably our last time playing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool finally to come full circle and get the gold. And
Now, how did
yeah,
that feel? I mean, tell me about that feeling.
it felt
Like,
amazing, man.
Yeah.
We had like, we'd visualized it, and when you're doing these things with your twin brother, like we kind of just put that as our top goal, right? So
Okay.
we were both just trying to bring that to fruition, right? And we were talking about it a lot all year. And then yeah, when you get in the tournament, you kind of got to let go, right? Because you don't want to play with that sense of like, oh my God, sense of urgency. You kind of got to relax and trust the process.
Yep.
And it felt like just kind of the universe was conspiring in our favor. We were winning. We were down match points in the first round to a Brazilian team.
Wow.
Got through that. We had to kind of just this positive perspective. And then Federer Wawrinka, we're gonna collide with them in the third round, and they actually lost.
Okay.
To an Israeli team, we beat them, and then yeah, I got through and won. Yeah, as I said, 7 tiebreakers, and won a tiebreaker in the last set in the final against this French team.
That's crazy. And congrats.
But yeah, it felt
and
cool.
to win it that way, though, right? To win it that way too, because you guys just you battled and battled and battled, right? Like,
yeah, it was cool. Like the match point. There's this. Yeah, I mean, you got to check it out on YouTube.
I'm going to. Yeah.
This ball went over Bob's head, and he went back all the way to the fence and hit this behind the back shot. We got back in the point, won it, and then it was just kind of like time stopped, and we embraced, and we were shedding tears on the podium, and then it carried us. Like we were literally so happy playing. It felt like we had like the cure, right?
Yeah.
Like we'd done pretty much it all. It felt like, so we were just playing free. We were playing so relaxed, and it carried us for another year where we won 4 Grand Slams in a row, just because we were.
Awesome.
Bob
you were on that high.
Yeah, we were on the high. Bob had the gold medal. He'd bring it in his bag. He'd pass it around to the fans, and it was like literally, it was a cool feeling. Yeah. So I mean, playing happy is the key, right? Like
it almost seems like right now you can almost, like, as I'm talking to you, you can almost feel it still, right? Like it's taking you back a little, and I can see it in your face, man. And you smiled a little bit, and you're almost feeling that again. You're reliving it. It's got to be such a surreal feeling that how many people can experience? Think about it. How many people, in your case, twins, but how many people can experience that gold medal in tennis or any sport? And I mean, what an achievement, bro. Like, just
I mean, it's
so amazing.
Still to this day, I feel like that's our greatest achievement, because I don't know, it feels like you don't have many shots at it to play the Olympics.
4 years.
And to even have a chance at a medal. And I feel like the medal kind of transcends just the boundaries of tennis, right? It's like everyone kind of in the world knows what the Olympics is. Not everyone knows what Wimbledon is. And just that shiny object is like a celebrity unto itself. Like,
100%.
And that thing is like holding the ring, right? They're like,
oh, that's your drip, man. That's your drip. You can wear that thing around. You're good, right?
Yeah.
If you're single,
so
if you're single and you don't have the lady, you can wear that baby.
It's a chick magnet. Bob was single at the time.
Okay.
He was bringing it out to the clubs, and it was everyone was just gravitating toward this medal, and it was just pretty fun.
That is awesome, man. So I got to ask you, I think fans would want to know, how many times have you just absolutely plugged someone with a shot or been plugged? Like, I mean, we got to ask this question, right? Moneyball fan wants to know, how many times have you just drilled and laid somebody out with a ball?
I mean, in pro doubles, it happens a lot. Like you're a lot of times you're 2 inches from the net. You have these sitters, and it gets kind of, there's a lot of jarring. The top guys that, there's cocky fellas on the tour. There's a few guys that we didn't like, and we would be hit, and then you'd wait for, a couple of months where you have that opportunity. And then a lot of times you don't take it, but a few times you do, right?
You have to, right?
Even when guys turn their back, like, I took it a few times. It's cold, right? And sometimes you don't want to wake a sleeping bear. Like, you're winning a match, you don't want to piss the guy off, because then it'll wake him up. But there's a few times where, I'm not proud of a few of them. One guy, I got a guy in the jaw, and he was icing it for a couple of days, but I got hit right in the throat by this guy that had really kind of magic hands. This guy, Leander Pez, this Indian guy.
Okay.
And he could.
You know what's interesting? I'm just going to stop you for 1 second. You know what's interesting about you, man? The brain, like, just listen, the career you've had, and you remember his name, you remember his country. When I'm talking about the Olympics, you said the Argentinian, and just all of these memories, how vivid they are to you, And I know
Yeah.
it wasn't too long ago, but it's really amazing, and I got to give you credit for that, man. Like, it's just so cool to see somebody just boom, 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 and you just rip it off like it was yesterday. I don't know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think the emotions make the memories really sticky, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
funny, like I remember those moments. Like, we played 1,600 matches on tour, right? But it seems like those top moments you remember, and then the losses actually sting the worst, right? So you remember a lot of the losses. Unfortunately, that's how kind of the brain works. Is like that emotion of like regret and like kind of anger, and that makes those things. Like when you lose a Davis Cup match where you're playing for your country, your teammates, packed house, that you hear the national anthem, and then like it keeps you up for nights, right? Like you're like, damn, like
it keeps people like you up for nights, right? The absolute elite competitors, right? Like, I mean, there's people, I guess, and if you're in that the Davis Cup, you're going to be the elite competitor. But there's people that go above and beyond, and your training regimen, and you said your diet and everything else. People like you would stay up for nights. There's people that would be like, yeah, I lost whatever, So let's not get.
No, I mean,
and you.
I mean, I wish I had that more of that laid back attitude. Because like a lot of guys let those losses roll off their chest. For us, we just had the top goals. Every time we entered a tournament, we're the number one seed. We're always playing to win the tournament. So
I love it.
Final,
I love it.
So
you're playing. You're playing to win, and you're playing to come in first, not second. And
yeah,
I mean,
our coach at Stanford instilled that in us. This guy Dick Gould. He's a famous coach. He won 17 national titles.
Okay.
And he just had this never satisfied attitude.
Yep.
So I remember we won the NCAAs our freshman year, and we were celebrating on the court. And I look over, and he's just shaking the hands of the opponents calmly. Yeah. And I go up to him and give him a hug, and he whispers in my ear, he's like, "Just imagine how good we're going to be next year."
Wow.
So that's
wow.
I'm like, "Whoa, man, that's crazy." And he never took any minutes for granted. It didn't matter if we're playing like I don't know, like the Oregon Ducks didn't have a great tennis team. Right. But before the match, he'd give us a speech where like, "Hey, so Mike, you're playing this guy. He's got a massive forehand," and I knew he didn't, right? And he's trying to kind of make sure I brought my A game, and like I wasn't just kind of resting on my laurels that I just go out there just because with the S on my chest and get it done. So we carry that, and as twins, we're just pushing each other.
I'm a big Georgia Bulldogs fan. I know they've had some good tennis teams, right?
Oh yeah, we played Georgia in the finals of the NCAA's our freshman and sophomore year. Okay. And to play in Georgia is probably the most hostile crowd.
In the doghouse.
Playing in the doghouse because they packed that place. A lot of them are fraternity guys, and you come to pick up a ball in the back, and they're spilling beer on you.
Yeah, really?
And they're talking about your mom.
Really? So it gets
it's nasty. So that got us ready for like playing on the road in Davis Cup.
Yeah.
Because literally, like you're shaking. It's so loud, and they're barking. They got this bark where they're just woof, woof, woof.
Oh yeah. I
remember the night before we played there. I had my buddy go out and watch their semifinal match.
Okay.
And he came back that night, and he's just like, "Hey guys, don't pull any of your twin chest bump crap, because they're going to eat you alive.
You're going to pay for it,
and you're going to pay for it." And I mean, luckily we got through that one. We got through it, but it was a tough place to play.
Couple more things, man, and I'll let you get going. Enjoy your day. I was telling Mike here, and today in Buffalo, we have about 5 feet of snow on the ground. This man is much busier than I, who am literally benched today. Everything I had going today was canceled, so this was perfect. But a couple things I really wanted to ask you here. Number one, you got to share the story about Agassi again. Drawing Agassi in the first round is just such a great story. So I'm sorry to make you retell it, but I was telling Mike how big of an Agassi fan I was growing up, and Mike was a doubles player. But let's hear about your first round draw in your first ever singles tournament.
No, man, Agassi was our god. It was like a religion. We grew up watching this guy, and he was kind of the most exciting player in the 90s, right? Like he had the tights. He was just fun to watch. You're either an Agassi guy or a Sampras, and we were full board Agassi.
Me too.
And we had a shrine in our bedroom. And so when we turned pro, every time he'd walk by, like in the locker room, we're like, oh my God, there's Andre. Because we got his autograph literally hundreds of times, right?
Yeah.
And then when we
what a surreal feeling too, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
When we shared our birthday with him.
Yeah.
And he was actually really cool. He's got a huge heart. Super nice to us when we turned pro, kind of took us under his wing and gave us some pointers. But yeah, we played singles and doubles when we turned pro. And my only singles Grand Slam that I played, I qualified for the US Open. And when I got the draw, and I'm looking down the draw, and I couldn't find my name, right? I'm looking all the way down, and I'm like, did I even put me in the draw? And I get to the very bottom, and it says, Mike Bryan versus Andre Agassi, and I'm like, oh my Lord. And then I look on the schedule, and they scheduled us a night match, Arthur Ashe Stadium, packed house under the lights.
Sure.
Johnny Mack and everyone commentating, and literally, I was scared, right? I was like, oh my God. I wish I could go back in like time and kind of enjoy it more.
Yeah.
But I was so in my head that it was funny. Like, he ran me side to side. He could see that I was nervous, right? And when you're nervous, you expend a lot more energy.
Sure.
And so he used the first set to just put me on this yo-yo where, usually he'd have this mid-court ball. He'd hit a winner, but he hit it just inside my reach.
Wear you down.
And he just wore me down. And so he took my legs out in like the first 45 minutes. The first set was pretty good, 6-4.
Okay.
And I was just sucking wind. And then he just blew me over in the second and the third. Because I was trying to serve him volley. He's got the best return in history.
Right.
He was just dialing me up at my feet and then passed me. And then the the second and third were like 21 minutes. But I got to net. He's like, dude, how'd you feel out there, man? I'm like, not good, dude, not good.
Did somebody ask you at the net?
Yeah. It was kind of a sign that like doubles was maybe the path.
Yeah.
That's when I really said, okay. I want to play with this guy on Davis Cup, and I want to play with this guy at the Olympics.
Yep.
And I'm not going to beat this guy in singles. I feel like our calling. I convinced Bob, because Bob was knocking on the door of the top 100 in singles. I convinced him to let's go for it and specialize in doubles, because they're almost like different sports. So I felt like, hey, we gotta kind of dial in our practices where we're working on our reflexes and our volleys and these doubles drills, just to make sure. We wanted to be the best, right? So we kind of said, okay, goodbye to this singles. That was probably the night.
So
for
you it was anyways,
thanks
right?
to Andre, but that it was still a cool experience. I mean, I probably have a little trauma from it. I still haven't watched the match back.
You've never watched it?
It's floating around on YouTube, but it brings
I'm going to watch it today, man. I have
weird, uncomfortable emotions, because I feel like I've come such a long way, but there was that little scared little boy in there that was like, he was like worried about what everyone was thinking.
How old were you at the time?
I was probably like 21 or 2.
Yeah.
So we turned pro at 20 out of Stanford. And but then we've gotten to know Andre extremely well. Played Davis Cup with him. We've gone to Vegas. He takes us to his school every time we're there and shows us what he's.
And that's where I was going with it. What a cool guy then, because you remember that experience where you looked at it. He was a tennis god, and he could have been arrogant, right? He could have been a jerk. He could have been arrogant, and he was the total opposite. He kind of poked fun of it a little bit at the net, and then kind of, like you said, took you under his wing, and then you guys became friends. And that's just such a cool story, man. And that's why thank you so much for sharing it too, because it's, I don't mean to, make it sound like he beat up on you, but he did. And
he did.
Tell it so well, man. So
no, man, we love Andre, like, to this day. We were just in Vegas a couple weeks ago, and we hung out, and he's just got a massively huge heart, right? And like, he's just a really deep human being.
Yeah.
And you usually just cuts to the chase and, asks you like how you're doing, like on a soul level. And really you can see like he's connecting with you, right? And he really cares about giving back, and he's like devoted his life to his foundation. And then Bob and I have kind of adopted that philosophy, post-retirement, is like we're gearing to give back to our foundation, which is in alignment with his foundation, like education and mentoring and like tennis and stuff. So I feel like he's been really like just an idol in that regard.
And your foundation is what? Let's talk about that a minute before I let you go here. What your foundation? And I just have one other question as well, and that's exposure of tennis. Where do you think it's going right now? Do you think it's going in a good direction? Not to get into the whole American, stuff like we did last time, but just the direction of tennis in general. And please, by all means, talk about your foundation.
Yeah, I mean, we have the Bryan Brothers Foundation, and it's called Team Bryan. We focus on this program out in Vegas where we are the number one goal is to get these kids through the program and get them scholarships into some of the top universities in the country. And like the kids that come through the program, they get their education going. They become just great kind of leaders for in the community, and they go to like the kid just went to Stanford, the Yale, Harvard. Like there's been an amazing kind of like victories, right, in that regard, where kids are going to some of the best schools in the country. Once they get in there, I feel that their life, kind of the trajectory of their lives, take off.
Sure.
So that's the goal is the education and the tennis and getting them going there, because that's just a great like platform.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And then in regards to like where tennis is going, I mean, I think tennis is popular, dude. It's like right now, you're some of the guys are starting to come to the end of their domination. Like Federer just retired, but they've done so well for the game, right? They've put tennis on the map everywhere, and it's just been great rivalries to watch these guys win pretty much every slam for the last 20 years. Djokovic, Federer, Nadal. Murray was sprinkled in there a few times, but they made the game big, and now there's these new faces and these new personalities that will eventually, I think they'll take the reins nicely. Like Alcaraz, I think everyone loves Alcaraz. They see what a great dude he is.
He's really.
And then the Netflix
took the world by storm there a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah. And then I think as you saw, you at the U.S. Open. I mean, the ground packed, every state, lines.
Such a great vibe.
Get in, and they might partner with this Middle Eastern, like they might turn into like kind of like the live thing for the golf. That's what I've heard, like rumors,
I was going to go there. I didn't, but because when you mentioned the top 40 thing and as far as how to earn a living, I almost went into that because that was my first thought process was, will it kind of turn into something like that to give people the opportunity to make more money? Do you think that's something that might happen?
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. They want, the guys top 250 in the world to make a really good living. So the Challenger Tour,
I think they should.
Is they're pumping more money into the Challenger Tour, and they're making these Challenger events almost like ATP Tour events, right? So they're taking care of hotel rooms now. The prize money's more. And then if in the qualifying of slams, the prize money is even great. Like you can make 30 grand and just in the qualifying of slams, so that you can hire bigger teams. Your expenses are covered.
Coaches.
So
man. Like
the money's trickling down.
You guys give your heart and soul to the game, right? And let's say someone's just not as naturally talented as Mike or Bob Bryan, and they're 59th in the country, right? And like you said, they can't earn a living. To me, that's not fair, and that's insane. So anything that can bring more, I'm all about it. With these guys getting paid more money, and if it happens to be another league or challenge or whatever it is, so be it, right? That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's expensive to go out there and to do it right. You need a physio, you need a coach, you need a team behind you, and so to do it right, it costs a good $100 grand to travel to the right tournaments around the world. And so to give that back to some of the prize money, there's more endorsement dollars now. To trickle that down, because the top guys are killing it, right? Top guys are doing super well. But now I feel like now it's a good 150 guys now. And if you look at any other profession, like if you're the top 150 doctor or lawyer, I mean, come on, you're doing pretty well, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's what I mean. It's not an even playing field there. Yeah. And there's some guys, and tennis, golf, these are sports where you have to prove yourself constantly. You can be a football player. You can sign a 5-year, $100 million deal, and you can have literally the next season have 20 catches in the worst season of your career, and you're still getting paid.
Yeah, no, that's in tennis, if you have 2 or 3 bad months, it's a 12-month ranking system.
Yeah.
So if you don't have any points for like 2 or 3 months, and you just lose some first rounds and go into a little slump or get hurt, then you know what, you're not ranked up there, and you're done, right? So you see guys pop into the top 100, they struggle, with the top level, and they fall out, and it's tough to get back in there. It's so competitive, and like the game is becoming like, it's literally, if you watch it on TV, it's just side to side grueling rallies, and these guys are just torturing each other.
Yeah.
And it's so physical. These guys have to be beasts,
Yeah.
you know, to stay up there. So I mean, they deserve it. Any money they're making up there, I mean, it's much deserved.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, man. Listen, you are an absolute salt of the earth gentleman. I cannot thank you enough, man, for coming back on for round 2 here. Again, Mike Bryan, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. How's the weather? Is it sunshine in there or what?
It's nice, yeah. Sunny out here in Florida, down here in Tampa, about 70 degrees.
Thanks.
Come
Makes me feel
down for a
great.
little vacay.
Yeah,
And
I
we
don't
gotta
know
do,
why. I'll be there in March. I'll be there in March.
Let's do round 3 next week. Why not?
Listen, man, we got record buttons going, but we
Yeah.
might do round 3 live. I might even show you a few things on the tennis court. We'll see how it goes.
All right, bud.
All right,
a lot
take
of
care,
fun.
man.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much.
All the best.
All right, bye.